Good morning, students. In this session, let's see some sample programs on programming in C. So, we know we have already learned about some programs earlier. And on these sample programs, we know we must first include the preprocessor directives, #include, and this is used to include our header files. #include stdio.h and #include conio.h. These are the header files that tell the compiler how to call some functionality. They contain function prototype and they also contain data types and constants. So these header files are used in our program to include some input-output functions, mainly for including some input-output functions in our program. So the first statements in our program will be including the preprocessor directives. #include is called the preprocessor directive, and using the preprocessor directive, we include the header files. Always the header files will end with the extension .h. And this is the format for including the header files in our program. So next statement is void main. Void main tells the compiler that the main function begins here. Void, as we have learned in the previous classes, that void tells the compiler that the function returns no value. If any function does not return any value, it should be mentioned as a void function. So our main function does not return any value in this case. So we mentioned the main function as a void function. So void is followed by the main of function. Main of tells the compiler that the actual program begins from here. So in any program, the execution of a program will start from the main of function. So the execution begins from the main of function, and every program must have exactly one main function. Exactly one main function should be contained in your program, and from that line, the execution of the program begins. And the main of function is followed by an empty pair of parentheses. It indicates that the main function has no arguments. No arguments or no parameters are included in that main function. The next statement, the next line in a program would be an opening brace. The opening brace indicates the beginning of a function. The opening brace always indicates the beginning of the function body. That is our main function. And the closing brace is used to indicate the end of the program, end of a function. In case of small, simple programs, the closing brace indicates the end of the program itself. So here we use closing brace to indicate the end of the program. And in between the opening brace and the closing brace indicates the whole function body. That means our program is contained within the opening brace and the closing brace. All the statements in between the braces are called as function body, and inside the function body we give the instructions to perform our task. The next line of the program is, next statement of the program is printf welcome. Printf is a statement that is a built-in statement that is used to display a message on the monitor. That means we use printf statement for getting our output. So printf is a predefined statement, predefined standard C function for printing output. For the usage of the printf function, we have included the header files. So this is a predefined standard function that is included inside the standard header files. So for using the printf statement, we have to include the header files or the first statement of a program. So it is a function that have already been written and compiled. So we need not include all the lines of the function here. We should only mention the printf, and within the braces, we can give anything that is to be displayed in the program. In this case, we use we just use the display welcome, a message welcome at the monitor. So printf statement is followed by a pair of parentheses, and inside the parentheses we mention the message to be displayed within the double quotes. Anything given within the double quotes will be displayed as such. So everything between the starting and the ending quotation marks will be printed. So in this case, our output of our program will be welcome. So let's see more about the main function. The main function is the part of every C program. C permits different form of main statement. Main of int, main of void, main of void, void, main of void, int, main of void. Empty parenthesis, in any case, empty parenthesis indicates that there is no parameters or arguments. The function is never using any parameters or arguments. As we said earlier, void is used to indicate that the function returns no value. Function does not return any information to the operating system. So we mention it with the void. In case if the function returns an integer value to the operating system, we might have specified the function as int main of. So simply main of is same as using the void main of or void main of void. Void is used to indicate there is no parameter or no return value. So in many cases, in usual cases, we use void main of. Simply void main of. It is just the way similar to use void main of void. So simply we use void main of function. In case the function returns any value to the operating system, if it returns an integer value to the operating system, we should declare it as an int main of. Int main of is used to specify that the main function returns an integer value to the operating system. So when int is specified, the last statement in the program must be return 0. When we use int main of in our program, after the end of our function body, we should specify the last statement in our program must be return 0 statement. That means it returns some value, some integer value to the function. So these are all the main functions that we use in our program. For a simple program that does not return any value or that does not contain any arguments or parameters, we commonly use the statement void main of function. So let's see another program, another example program, a program to add two numbers. The first statement, as we said earlier, the first line of the program is #include stdio.h. That is the inclusion of header file. stdio.h is the header file. Header files always end with the extension .h. And #include is the preprocessor directive. stdio.h is the header file. We must include this line at the beginning of our program, so that we can make use of the standard input-output functions in our program. For any program, we must have some input value. That means we must feed some input values to the computer, and using the input values, we may do some calculations. And after performing some computations, the values will be returned to us. That means we should get the output from the computer. For getting the output from the computer, we must make use of some output statements. We know for feeding input to the computer, we must make use of input statements, and for getting output from the computer, we must use some output statements. So in this program, we use both the input statement and the output statement. For making use of this input output statements, for this input output statements are all built-in functions that are contained within the uh, library file or this header file. So these input output functions are already built in and pre-defined and pre-compiled functions that are included within the header file. So for making use of this input output statements, we must include the header file stdio.h for including our standard input output statements. Okay, that's about the first line of the program. And coming to the second line, void main of, as we said, void indicates that the function returns no value to the operating system, and main of indicates the beginning of the program. Always a program must contain exactly one main function, and this main function indicates the starting of a program. The main function is followed by a pair of empty parentheses. That means the empty parenthesis indicates the function uses no arguments or parameters. And the void main of is followed by a curly opening brace. We know any statements given inside the opening brace and the closing curly brace indicates the function body. That is, we must specify the instructions, or the actual program body resides within the opening brace and the closing brace. So the execution begins from here. For the first statement, inside the function body is int x, y, z. We have learned declaration of variables. How could a variable be declared? What is a variable after all? A variable is used to store some value. We may use a program to compute some values or for some calculations. So for calculating anything, some values, we might have stored the values on some storage area. For storing some particular values, we make use of the variables. Variables are identifiers whose value may be changed at any time during the execution of the program. We know that a constant remains constant forever, and the variable can change its value during the execution of a program. So int x, y, z, in this statement, we declare three variables x, y, and z. Three variables x, y, and z are declared as an integer variable. So this statement is a variable declaration statement that tells the compiler that we are declaring three variables x, y, z, and these variables are of type integer. We use these variables to store an integer value, and of course from the declaration of general syntax of declaring a variable, you know the variable should be declared first by indicating, specifying the data type of that variable. So here we use an integer value. So we declare these three variables as int. Int is the keyword used to declare the variable as an integer data type. So we must first specify the data type, and for specifying the data type as integer, we use the keyword int followed by a white space. Then the first variable x, that denotes that x is a variable of type integer. And then we have two more variables to declare all of the similar data type. That means x, y, z, or belongs to the integer data type. So we can declare all these three variables within a single statement. Data type followed by the first variable, comma, second variable, and comma, third variable. So if the variables if one or more variables belongs to the similar data type, we can declare all the variables within a single statement separated by commas. And remember that statement, the declaration of variable, that statement should be terminated with a semicolon. So int x, y, z, semicolon. Okay, all these variables could be declared in a single line, single statement, separated with commas, but the statement should be terminated with a semicolon. Then the next line is, the next statement is the printf statement. As we have said earlier, printf is an output statement. Printf is used to get the display from the program, get an output from the program. So here printf, enter two numbers to add. We know anything specified within the double quotes will be printed as if. So enter two numbers to add. That is the message given with the using the printf statement. So when we execute this program, we will have this message on our screen. Enter two numbers to add. This message will be displayed when the program is executed. And the \n, it is a new line character. It is used to get the display on the new line. Then the next statement is a scanf statement. It is a new statement for us. Printf statement is the output statement used to get the display from the computer, display from the program. Scanf is an input statement that is used to feed some input values to the program. For example, in our example program, the program is written to add two numbers. For adding two numbers, of course, we have to give the values of these two numbers to the program. For giving the values of these two numbers, we make use of this scanf statement. So scanf statement is an input statement that is used to give input to the program. So this statement, using the scanf statement, we are going to give two input values for adding the numbers. For example, here we have to give the value of x and y to calculate the sum of these x and y. So this statement scanf is used to give input values to the computer. That means here we are using the scanf statement to give the input values of x and y to the program. Scanf is followed by a set of parentheses, a pair of parentheses, and inside the parentheses we mention %d within the double quotes. %d indicates that the following number or the following value is an integer one. We have declared x and y as an integer value, integer variable. So the value given for x and y should be an integer. For accepting or for giving the input values as an integer, we must specify it with an %d. %d indicates that the first input is an integer value. Of course, we need to give the value of y also. So we give another %d that indicates the following number. Y is also an integer variable. So this is the syntax of using a scanf statement. Note the usage of printf statement and the scanf statement and all these notations. These are very important. So %d indicates it is an integer value. For specifying the integer values of x and y, we must specify the statement as scanf within the double quotes %d, and the %d is written 2 times to indicate that we are giving values for x and y. And it is followed by a comma, then %x, %y. That means we are giving the values that are given or should be stored as the value of x and y. The next statement is our computational statement, that is z equal to x plus y. Z is already mentioned, declared as a integer variable. So inside the integer variable z, we store the value of x and y. So z equal to x plus y. That means the value of x and y will be added, and this sum will be stored into the value z. Now the sum of x, y and y is stored in the variable z. Remember, in programming language, we use the equal to sign as an assignment operator. We use equal to sign as an assignment operator. Assignment operator means it is used to assign some value to a variable. So here we assign the value of x plus y. That is the sum of values x plus y is assigned to the variable z. Now the sum is contained within the z value. So to get the sum of two numbers, we should simply display the value of z. So the next statement is printf within double quotes sum of the numbers equal to %d \n. We know all these terms. The anything mentioned within the double quotes will be printed as such. So sum of the numbers equal to will be printed as such. And %d indicates that the following number is an integer value. \n is used as a new line character. That means we have to get our output in a new line. So we make use of this new line character. After closing the double quotes, it is followed by a comma, then ez. That means the value contained within the z will be displayed, because we store the sum of x and y in the z variable. So z should be displayed as an output. The last statement is a get choff statement that is used to get a character from the keyboard. When we execute the program, the screen waits until we type a character using the keyboard. Okay, this is our program. Let's see how to execute this program. So this is our program, a program to add two numbers. So let's run this program. We know all these statements included within the program, the two header files, main of function, and within the function body we specified all the statements included in the program. The program is used to just add the two numbers and display the sum of the numbers. The same program we have explained earlier. So first, after typing all these statements, program within the C text editor, we need to compile the program. After compiling the program, see whether there is some errors or not. If there is no errors in the program, press any key and then start running the program. When we run the program, we use this program to enter, add two values to variables. So first, I give the value of x as 15 value of y as 15. See, the output is shown as sum of the numbers equal to 30. So this program is used to add the two numbers, and the output is printed as 30 because I had given the number, the value of x as 15 and the value of y as 15. So the numbers, sum of the numbers equal to 30. This is the way we do programs in C. Let's see another program. This was our first program. A program used to just print a message, welcome. Compiling the program has no errors. Now just run the program. See, our second program, when the second program is executed, it shows the message welcome. Okay, we have another program also. This is our text editor used for programming in C. The C programming text editor. We should type our programs here in this text editor. After typing all the programming statements in a program, we have to compile the program. Before executing any program, we have to compile the program to see whether it contains any errors or not. This is a program, the same program to add two numbers, but in this program I had declared the value of a and b itself in the program. Okay, now see, including the header files #include stdio.h, #include conio.h, and is followed by the void main of function. Within the void main of function, that is within the function body, I declared two variables. Here I declare two variables, int a equal to 5 and int b equal to 5. These are all similar variables. In the earlier program, previous program, we used to give the value of the program at runtime. When we execute the program, we gave the value of x and y. But then this program, I had given the value of a equal to 5 in the program itself and b equal to 5 in the program itself. That means this is how we assign value to a variable. Declaring a variable and assigning value to a variable. Int space a. This is how we declare a variable data type space variable name, and in the same statement itself I have assigned a value to the variable. That means a is a variable, but in this at the time of declaration itself I had given a value for a. That means a is a variable of integer data type and a constant 5 is assigned to the variable a. Similarly, a constant value 5 is assigned to a variable b of integer type. Both are of integer type. So these two statements shows how to declare a variable and how to assign a value to a variable. Okay, int a equal to 5, int b equal to 5. So yeah, so I declared two variables a and b of integer data type and I assigned values, constant values to the variables. Now the next statement is int sum equal to a plus b. That means here itself I had declared a variable sum of integer data type. That means sum is a variable of integer data type. The variable is declared here, but at the same time within the same statement I have assigned a value to the variable sum. That is a plus b is assigned to the variable sum. The values of a and b are added and that sum will be assigned to the variable sum. As we said earlier, in programming we use the equal to sign is used as an assignment operator. That means it is used to assign the value to a variable. Here a plus b value is assigned to sum. So when we execute this program, sum will be stored, sum of two numbers a plus b will be stored within the variable sum. And the last one is this get ch of character. As we said earlier, it is used to get a character. The screen waits until we type a character in the keyboard. So after compiling, we run the program and see the result, sum equal to 10. This is the output of our program. We had given a equal to 5 and b equal to 5. The program was just to add the two numbers a plus b. So 5 plus 5, 5 plus 5, 10 is the answer. So sum equal to 10 will be displayed as the output. Okay, hope it's clear now. This is how we enter a program in Turbo C. Learned well, students. Thank you.